Everyone. As we are waiting for people to continue joining the room, I'd love for everyone to share their name, pronouns, and your affiliation in the chat box. And it would really help us all out if everyone makes sure that their name is first and last in your little box, so that when we're starting to assign breakout rooms, we can make sure everyone is in the correct place. So maybe you have your business up there. Just go ahead and change that to first and last name. And then once you've got that all out of the way, tell us how you're feeling today. Put it in the chat box, one word to describe how you're feeling. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
All right. Thanks, Chelsea. I'll take the next slide here. So as we get started, I do want to briefly introduce myself. My name's Tanya, so the fourth person there on the slide. Again, as Amanda reiterated, welcome. We have a great team here, and what you see here is the team that helped put this event together. First and foremost, I do want to introduce a key person who didn't necessarily make it on the slide there. We couldn't fit her in, but she's very much instrumental. Jenna Brown, she's actually running our meeting today and is the tech person and host. Everyone just give a quick wave to Jenna. Thank you so much, Jenna, for helping support us in this event. Next, we have Abby Bullard, who is, of course, working with AFP. We have Arshay Hines, Chelsea Corbin, part of YNPN with me as well. And then, of course, Amanda Bonilla, which introduced us and kicked us off. Next slide, Chelsea. So today's agenda, this is a little bit of what you can expect, an overview. So we've already got the welcome out of the way. We have the icebreaker there. As you tell us how you feel in the chat, we'll definitely have a conversation and get things started. Next, you can expect the introduction of our presidents for AFP and YNPN as well. We'll also have some job announcements for you, which is exactly why you showed up, right? And then we'll go into our wonderful keynote workshop with our keynote speaker, Charmaine Ward Milner. And then we'll go into what we call the breakout rooms, where you will have the opportunity to speed network with managers and, just work on that elevator pitch, ask resume tips and questions that you have, and just really get, your questions answered about the industry and the job outlook. Lastly, we will have our closing remarks. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to throw this over to Arshay to actually, before we get started, I see we have quite a bit of people here. Why don't we go ahead and do a group photo while we have 40 different participants here, just to kind of commensurate this event, and get things started off. So if everybody would turn on your cameras, and of course you can leave yourselves on mute. And if you would put on your best smile, your winning personality, of course, as you're going to meet with these managers and network. On the count of 3, Jenna, if you would do us the honors of just taking a quick snapshot of us. 1, 2, 3. One more. All right. 1, 2, 3. Everyone good? Awesome. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Arshay, if you would introduce our president.
Absolutely. So hi, everyone. As she said, I'm Arshay, and I want to take a moment to introduce the AFP of Greater Atlanta Chapter President, Christian Murphy. She is also the Chief Development Officer of Girl Scouts of Greater Atlanta, where she has spent over 5 years working towards her personal passion of children and women's empowerment and issues. Prior to that, she was at Spelman University as an annual gift officer. And Christian's personal quote is that she believes that power of connectivity can help her change the world. A self-proclaimed relationship wizard, she is inspired when able to help others accomplish their goals through their philanthropic endeavors and service. So I'm going to pass it over to Christian. She's going to talk to everyone who might be a part of maybe not AFP, but just YNPN, or maybe you're not a part of either and you want to hear a little bit more about it. She's going to tell you guys about AFP Greater Atlanta. Christian?
Thanks, Arshay. I'm super happy that my headshot actually a little bit looks like me today, because you never know what you're going to get in quarantine. So this one happened to work in my favor, but greetings, everyone. I'm Christian Murphy. I'm really excited to bring you welcome from the Association of Fundraising Professionals here in Greater Atlanta. I have several board members who are in the room with me, so if they can hit the clap hand reactions to show that you are representing the AFP board. I have lots. I'm really proud to be serving with this year, and they really are a part of making this work great. I have to thank, of course, Abby, Arshay, Chelsea, Tanya, and Amanda for the phenomenal job that you all have done in creating an amazing experience for all of us to have today. And as I look back a little bit on my journey with AFP, I remember being a diversity fellow with the program about 2016, so nearly 5 years ago. Being an annual giving officer, really thinking about what matters to me, what do I want to do? How do I take ownership in this space when I feel so new and so and such a, I guess, a sense of naivete about what I wanted to do in this world and who I wanted to become. And really through that fellowship, I got an amazing mentor, Austin Dixon, who is now at Community Foundation in Texas. And he guided me through a year of engaging conversation and dialogue. And in fact, we stay in touch this day. I also have my existing fundraising mentor in the room because mentorship never stops. So big ups to Rosalind Merrick, who is here with us from Atlanta Habitat for Humanity. Thank you for your continuing guidance for me. But I really want to say this, AFP, YNP, and all of these amazing acronyms and organizations really stand for empowering their members. And in development, there's nothing like having a network of people who are here to be there to support you, to be your fundraising squad, I guess you could say, and to really arm and equip you to be the best development manager that you could ever be, which is really about our cause and helping the people that we serve. So I hope that you will take a look at this slide. Consider joining us at one of our upcoming meetings. We meet generally on the third Tuesday of every month. We also have a great selection of monthly engagements through our Young Professionals Network, and I will drop our website link in the chat box as well. But here and excited to be here with you all a little bit this morning. So thank you all again.
Fantastic. Thank you, Christian. I'm loving the energy at this meeting already today. So it's wonderful to have you, and thanks for the motivating words. I have the pleasure now of introducing Amanda Bisgard, who is the president of the YNPN chapter. And like Christian said, we have a lot of acronyms, and we are the Young Nonprofit Professionals Network of Atlanta. Amanda is the senior nonprofit services manager at Hands On Atlanta, where she works with food pantry partners on their meal distributions, COVID relief, and volunteer management best practices. Prior, Amanda was with the American Red Cross of Tennessee. And in her free time, in addition to hustling with YNPN, she also volunteers in the infant room at Our House. So I will turn it over to Amanda to share a little bit more.
Thank you, Chelsea. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see so many familiar faces on the screen. I'm really happy to be here. So like Chelsea mentioned, I am the board chair for YNPN. I also work at Hands On Atlanta and oversee our food insecurity programmatic efforts. And I'm excited to share just a little bit more about YNPN Atlanta. If you have not had a chance to hear about us before, our goal is really to connect young professionals in the nonprofit sector and hope that this gives people an opportunity to grow into future leaders. And we do this through a couple different programmatic efforts. The first one is professional development events throughout the year, and we have a dream team of PD planners, so Chelsea and Tanya, who helped put this event together in partnership with AFP. And opportunities range from fundraising to volunteer engagement to data analysis. So it's all across the board, helping with professional development opportunities. We also offer opportunities to network through social and service opportunities. We actually have an event next week. So if you're interested, next Wednesday night, we will have a mini meetup, so some miniature events. So we're not having a large group event yet. We have a recognition event every year where we recognize 30 young professionals under the age of 30 who are making waves in the nonprofit sector. And lastly, we provide opportunity grants as a way to provide funding to individuals who seek to continue to grow in this sector. So if this is your first time hearing about YNPN, or if you have heard of us and want to be more involved, I would encourage you to look into membership. It is only $35 a year and typically means all events are discounted or free. We have a really amazing all-volunteer board and have just opened up board applications. So we're looking for a few additional leaders to join us next year. And if you're interested in learning more about us, please reach out to me and I'd be happy to answer any questions. And I'll add the board application in the chat box. Our applications close on May 31st. And lastly, if you could please join us for our annual Next Gen Breakfast this year, we will have the wonderful keynote speaker, Milton Little. You can sit with the table host virtually and tickets will be going on sale next week. And I couldn't close without saying we couldn't do this without our amazing sponsors. And we're so thankful for the support of Agnes Scott and Delta Community Credit Union. And I'll pass it back over to the team.
Thanks, Amanda. Yes, many thanks to our sponsors. Before we get into the good stuff today, we've got a little cherry on top on the front end, and that's some job opening announcements here with the Atlanta Community Food Bank, Purpose Possible, Covenant House Georgia, Partnership Against Domestic Violence, and our fundraising search on behalf of the William Berman Jewish Heritage Museum. So if you represent one of these jobs, or if you're interested in one of these jobs, now's your chance to connect. You can find each other in the chat and hopefully in the breakout rooms later on. Now I'm going to pass it over to Abby.
Yeah, thank you so much. And also, one of the great perks of membership to AFP and YNPN as well is access to forums that will share opportunities such as these job openings, not just in newsletters, but also on our sites. So even if you're not quite actively applying to things right now, but you know you will be soon or down the line, membership to these organizations is a great way to find out about those things. So that's another just quick plug for that. So yeah, I'm really excited to have Charmaine Ward Milner as our keynote workshop address for today. I actually met Charmaine at a YNPN event a couple of years back and we've stayed connected. I'm really excited to have her here today. I'm going to read her bio and I just want you to take a note of all of the absolutely incredible things that Charmaine has been involved in. One of the best parts about my career has been getting involved in associations, being a part of boards, and really just being a servant leader, something I learned from Charmaine in the workshop I saw her at. So really just take note to all of the different things that she's done because it's really quite an impressive list. So Charmaine is Corporate Relations Director for Georgia Power. She is responsible for building and maintaining key state and national relationships with diverse opinion leaders, forming strategic alliances with diverse segments of the company's 2.5 million customers, corporate partners, and civic organizations to promote advocacy for important industry and company initiatives. Charmaine has held senior level positions with Georgia Pacific, John H. Harlan, Bank of America, Showtime Networks, and IBM. She is a noted speaker, adjunct professor at Georgia State, where she actually teaches nonprofit management, a serial entrepreneur, and John Maxwell Leadership Coach, an ICF professional certified coach. She is a member of the Board of Trustees for Clark Atlanta University and secretary for the National Black MBA National Board. She also serves on the Urban League of Greater Atlanta Board, Atlanta Technical College Foundation Board, Atlanta Business League Foundation Board, Operation Hope Regional Board, NBAF Advisory Council, and Alliance Theater Advisory Board. She is also a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, the Links Incorporated, Coalition of 100 Black Women Incorporated, and National Council of Negro Women. She is also an alumna of United Way VIP, Education Policy Fellowship, Leadership Georgia, and Leadership Atlanta. Those are some great opportunities as well if you're looking for other ways to get involved. Charmaine graduated magna cum laude with a BA in economics from Clark Atlanta University and earned an MBA with honors from Kennesaw State University. Charmaine's personal mission is to be a catalyst, creating positive change in individuals, organizations, and communities by making connections, coaching, and servant leadership. Thank you so much, Charmaine. I'm going to throw it to you, and we're so excited to hear what you have to say for us today.
Thank you so much. I want to thank Abby. I want to thank everyone on this call right now. First of all, I see so many faces that I know, so I'm just beaming. And unlike Kristen, I do not look like my picture. So I have taken the opportunity during COVID to try different hairstyles. So My team does not know who they're going to show up with either, but that's just because they don't know if I'm going to have braids or twists, or it may all be cut off. So anyway, I've tried to make the best of COVID. Thank you for that very nice introduction. And if I am glowing, it is yes, I'm excited to be here. But honestly, you all, I just got off a plane last night from a 1-week beach vacation in Turks and Caicos, and I still think I'm on the beach. I'm just like doing like this. Y'all just can't tell. It was absolutely amazing. And they were like, "Are you sure you're going to be okay?" I was like, "I'm going to be perfect being here with you all, because this is my favorite thing to do, which is talk to people about what we're talking about today, which is going to be networking. But I'm going to talk about a few other things to get you there. So let me just go ahead and share my screen. I'm sharing my sound. Okay. So make it so I can see you guys. This is going to be interactive, so please just pop in and ask a question. I'm not looking at the chat, so if I can have someone else look at the chat for me, because I have two screens here if you see me looking sideways. So can everybody see my screen? Wonderful, wonderful. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm calling this the power of networking, but really I know that afterwards we're going to be doing some speed networking, which I think is very cool. But the power of networking, because it does have a lot of power around it, how you get there, what it can do for you. And I'm not going to talk about this. The main thing I wanted to share with you guys is this is my favorite thing to do. And I think Abby mentioned that I'm an adjunct professor at Georgia State. I teach nonprofit leadership and management. So if any of you all are thinking about getting an advanced degree or getting just some more education around the nonprofit space, Georgia State has a great program. A lot of our schools do, but they have a great program. I've been teaching nonprofit leadership and management for about 5 years, and it brings me such joy. I get as much out of it as the students do. And I am not a mean teacher, so I really will, try and help you out. The other thing I wanted to share is that I do love international traveling. So, you heard I just got back from Turks and Caicos. I am blessed. We spend most of our disposable income on traveling. But what I find is that when you travel, you learn about other cultures, which then helps you to just have more insight about yourself and about what we're doing here in America. So it's my favorite thing. My other really, really favorite thing, of course, is my great husband, Keith Milner. And if you guys are on Instagram, social media, you may see, and I'm so proud, so I have to give a little plug, that on Friday is his virtual inauguration. He is the incoming president for 100 Black Men of Atlanta. So giving back and philanthropy is a family, it is a couple thing. It's something that's in our DNA. So just wanted to give him a little shout out. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about values, because that's where it all starts. It starts with your values. We're going to talk a little bit about emotional intelligence, because it's hard to be really good at networking and building relationships when you don't have a good sense of emotional intelligence. Then we're going to move on to the mission statement, which is your personal mission statement, and then the elevator pitch, and we're going to get some practice in there. So values, this is really where it all begins. You really have to understand, what are your values? What do you value? As you begin to build relationships, take on new jobs, look for new jobs, look for even other experiences like serving on boards or being involved in organizations. You want to make sure that the job, the organization, the person, your boo, right, that y'all have similar values, because that's where you get conflict. That's where you get a lot of challenges, right? Because when you can either have where there's no alignment, there's some alignment, or there's full alignment. But when you're having challenges, whether it's at work, with a boss, whatever, it's usually because the values are not aligned. So what you want to see is if you can bring the values into alignment. And if you can't, then you probably need to make a different decision. And that may be to find another job, to be in another relationship. And remember, a lot of things that we learn, it's not just professional, it's also personal. So you're going to hear me shift to both sides of it. Then I just want to talk a little bit, once you understand what your values are, and your values will help you make decisions, right? You want to make sure you're standing on those values, and that you're always like leaning into them and saying, okay, as I'm making this decision, does this align with what I really believe in? Does this align with what I really want to do? Well, that also becomes, you have to think about your emotional intelligence. And that's really where you're aware of who you are. You're aware of how others perceive you. I mean, if we had time, I do whole workshops on emotional intelligence. There are about 10 really principles around emotional intelligence. I'm just going to talk about 2 today. And the first one is self-awareness. This is one of my absolute favorite visuals, right? So not only how do you see yourself, I mean, you're a cat, but you really see yourself as a lion. You think you're walking in the room and you're taking over, but other people see you as a cat, right? So you need to make sure that there's alignment. And there's nothing wrong with seeing yourself as a lion. What this means, this is not negative. It's saying when you walk into the room, do you see yourself as someone that's confident, someone that has it together, someone that's not scared to walk up to someone and speak and introduce themselves? So I'm not saying a cat in a bad way. I'm just saying make sure, how do other people see you? Ask them, how do I come across? When you hear me talk with people, am I taking over the conversation? Am I a wallflower? Am I not saying anything? Am I interrupting? A lot of people don't really know. That's lack of self-awareness, right? And that's also means that you don't have the strongest emotional intelligence. And you can work on that by asking others, how do they perceive you? And then saying, okay, how can I bring that into balance? How do I want to be perceived? The second thing I want to talk about around emotional intelligence, this is my other favorite visual, is power listening. There is a reason we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen more and talk less. It is so important to do what I call power listening. Now you might say, oh, Charmaine, come on, what? I mean, everybody listens. No. And I actually had to work on power listening. This was where I did not have the best emotional intelligence, and my team shared with me. So I would be so busy in the office. They would come in my office and I would just do like this. Yes, no, yes, no. And they're standing there. Now what I do is I stop what I'm doing, take my hands off the keyboard. Now I want you to think about at home. How often does your husband come in, your kids come in? You don't even lift your fingers from the keyboard. You don't even move your body towards them. You just turn your head. That is not power listening. Start practicing at home with your family. Take your hands off the keyboard, turn your chair all the way to them and look at them and stop and listen. That's power listening. Now, here's the second part of power listening. And I'm just going to mess with the ladies. We have the worst problem with this. We are already figuring out what we're going to say before they finish talking. I already got the answer. I already know what you're going to say. I already got the what I'm going to say next. No. Stop. Clear your mind for a moment and listen to them. As a matter of fact, the way that I started working on my power listening, I repeated back to them what they said. That way, I can't be coming up with an answer. I can't be thinking of what I'm going to say next. I repeat. Now, you don't want to do that at work all the time, but I started just to make sure I was listening, is repeating what they said and then taking a moment and responding. That's power listening. You will see it will make such a difference at work when people think you are 100% engaged. And what does that mean? That you're present. And that's what we have to work on, is being present. We all multitask. We all have a million things to do. But when that person gets on your Zoom or that family member walks into your office for whatever reason, stop and actually be present and listen to them. So those are the 2 tips I want to talk about with emotional intelligence. Now, why is that important? Because when you're building relationships, you have to be present. I have to think that you're interested in what I have to say, even if you're not, okay? But when you're networking and you're at these different, Zoom events, or once we go back to some sense of what the new normal is, right? You actually have to be present, which means you have to do power listening and you have to be aware of how you're coming across to others. Any questions so far? So here are just some, let me move this, I can't really see. Here's some ways to improve your emotional intelligence. Become aware of your emotions. So here's the thing, if you know that you get sensitive very quickly, or if you get angry very quickly, then be aware of that. And what does it do to help you? What can you do to help? So sometimes if you know that someone came in your office, they rub you the wrong way, what do you need to do? Do you need to count to 5? Do you need to take 3 deep breaths? Do you need to walk outside and come back? say, hey, let me think about an answer and give you a call back. But you need to be aware. It's not anybody else's duty or responsibility to help you with your emotions. It's your responsibility to help you with your emotions. And you allow people to get you upset or to get you in a certain way. So you have to be aware. The second thing is to practice ways of showing emotional self-control. And that's what I just talked about, whether it's breathing, whether it's counting to 10, whether it's getting a glass of water, whatever that is. And then develop ways to influence useful emotion and behaviors in other people. Share with them, right? Again, this goes back to finding somebody that you can be honest with and transparent and share with one another how you can help one another. The other thing, this is a hashtag. Ask yourself, does this need to be said? Does this need to be said by me? And does this need to be said by me right now? That right there, if you just write that down and you start using that, you will see it will change. I promise you, it will change your life. It will change how you interact with people. Because sometimes it doesn't need to be said. Sometimes it does. And sometimes it doesn't need to be said by you. Maybe it needs to be said by one of your colleagues. Maybe it needs to be said by your boss, right? And does it need to be said by you right now? Is this the appropriate time? Is it better when people are cooler? Is it better when we can go back and think about it and come back to this conversation, right? So that will really help you with emotional intelligence. Just number 4, and asking yourself those questions. And it may be the answer is yes. Don't be afraid, but is the answer really yes for all 3? Okay. So this is just, one of my favorite quotes, Maya Angelou, because people will forget, they'll forget what you said. They'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. So if you did something or said something and made somebody feel really unhappy, it's going to be a hard time. It's going to be a long time before you can really get rid of that. And that's why emotional intelligence and understanding your level of emotional intelligence is so important. Okay, so now that we have your values, we've talked a little bit about emotional intelligence, right? Now it's the what's your why. And so really it gets into what I like to think about like this. What makes you happy? What do you do well? What would you do even if you didn't get paid for it, right? And what is it that other people really need or want? Those are the 4 things that helps you get to your purpose. So again, what do you like? What do you do well? What would you do even if you didn't get paid for it? And what do you do that somebody might need or they might pay for it, right? Your purpose. So a lot of us, we love to sing, but like me, cannot sing well, right? Cannot sing well at all. I'm tone deaf, so I already know that. So you have to really understand. And some people have gifts. They have amazing gifts, but they're not really interested in pursuing them. So it just depends. So you really want to understand the answer to those 4 questions. And I love this. What are the 2 most important days? The day you were born and the day you find out your why. Think about that for a minute. The day you were born and the day you find out your why. And it took me a minute. When I went to school initially, I wanted to be an anchor woman. Y'all are way too young to know who I liked, which was Barbara Walters. Now I'll just say Monica Pearson. So that's what I wanted to do. But while I was there, I had a counselor who really was like, you're a great student. You need to major in something else. I mean, just being an anchor woman, you could be an anchor woman without, all of this. So I did. I changed my major. I majored in economics and computer science, and I went totally different. But guess what? One of the things I realized that my why is to do exactly what I'm doing now. And it is sort of being an anchor woman, right? When you think about it, they love to talk. They impact hundreds of people. They're giving information. That's what I do every day. And that is my why. I knew back then it just didn't transform into an anchor woman. Instead, I'm in corporate philanthropy, but I get to do this every day and I love it. And it is absolutely my why. And it's around giving back. So this is really important to figure out what is your why. So with that, we're going to talk about the personal mission statement, because you have to understand your why to do your personal mission statement. This all goes together. your values, your emotional intelligence, your why. Now we're ready to actually write your mission statement. And then we're going to move into the last part, which is the elevator pitch. Okay, so the personal mission statement. This is really a tool. That's how you want to think about it, that helps to guide you. So you want to use the mission statement to really figure out what are the things that you want to do. So these are just mission statements of some folks that you might know of, but I love their mission statements, right? I'll just let you read through those. So Sir Richard Branson, Denise Morrison, Amanda Steinberg, all of them, and you see they all start with to be something. So as you think about your mission statement, and this is something I'll challenge you, write your mission statement. And it's not always like a one and done. It does, it's dynamic. So your mission statement, it might be one thing this year, and then you might tweak it a little bit next year. Now, it doesn't usually change dramatically, but it does change somewhat. And it could change dramatically. And you want to look at it every year and say, is it still on point? Now, here's other people that you know that are famous. Yeah. So this is Oprah Winfrey's personal mission statement, and then mine, which I think one of the folks shared earlier. So if you think about my mission statement, it really does talk about me, right? Which I like to connect. One of the things that I've kind of self-proclaimed is I'm a super connector, and other people will say the same thing because I focus on connecting people, connecting communities, connecting organizations. I'm thinking about that all the time when I'm talking to people. Here is a great formula for personal mission statements. And I'm going to give you a little exercise really quickly. We don't have a lot of time, but I do want to share it with you. So here's the formula. And you can take a picture of it, you can write it down, but your mission is the value you create, right? Plus who you're creating it for, plus the expected outcome. Now, this is a formula, so you could turn it around. If you wanted to start your sentence with the expected outcome and then do it however you like, but it is a formula, so you want to make sure that it goes like that. So I'm going to go back. Remember, the value you create. So the value you create, creating positive change in individuals, that's mine. That's the value I create. Who am I creating it for? Individuals, organizations, and communities. And what's the expected outcome, right? So you can see that. So to be a catalyst. So there again is the formula. We have about 5 more minutes. Any questions about personal mission statement? Does anybody want to share theirs? Does anybody already have a personal mission statement? No? Okay, then this was a very good exercise. That means we have some work to do. All right, great. And I'm going to make sure you guys have my contact information. If you want to share your personal mission statements with me, and I'll give you just some feedback, I'm happy to do that after the call. Okay? So let's go on to the next one. So here again, when you're doing your mission statement, you want to be very introspective. Take some time. You want to think of nouns, like mine is to be a catalyst, right? You saw the other one was to be a teacher. You want to add verbs like educate, inspire, and add a picture of what the perfect world would be. Those are all the things you want to think about when you think about your personal mission statement, okay? So now I want to get into the elevator pitch. So the elevator pitch is really short, engaging, memorable, 30 to 60 seconds. It is, you are not, it's 30 to 60 seconds. That's it. That is it. Okay, let's see if this will work.
So last month,
Can you
I
guys
was in a
hear that?
hotel elevator with, you're never going to believe this, Mary J. Blige. I just wanted to scream. What's the 411 changed my life? I've seen you in concert 5 times. I sing your songs in the shower. I even know your birthday, January 11. Problem was, my mouth didn't work.
Now, every time you use a participant.
So that is what I don't want you all to do, okay? Let me see if I can
City
get
card.
out of this right here. Oh, that's okay. It popped me out. So that's what I don't want you to do. I want you to be ready. Uh-oh, my screen sharing stopped. There we go. Got it right back. So y'all can see? Okay. So I want you guys to be ready. Y'all saw that young lady? I mean, there it was. She had the opportunity in the elevator by herself. Now, I know that was Mary J. Blige, right? But just think about if your CEO of your nonprofit was in the elevator with you, what would you say? This is the time when you have your elevator pitch, or you've been trying to get this new job, and here's the person that you know is the hiring manager right there next to you, just the two of you. This is when you use your elevator pitch, right? And we don't want you to be like that young lady, like, right, can't figure out what to say. So we want you to be able to tell your story. And so what does that mean? You want to tell what you do, not what you are. So, I mean, people don't care if you're an accountant. What does that mean, right? Be interesting, be authentic, make a connection. Remember, you're talking right at that person. Focus on what matters, keep it conversational. Don't sell yourself. You're not a salesperson. That's not what the elevator pitch is. So, and I don't need you to sell yourself. And then you want to open the door to continue conversation. So, Christian, hi, my name is Charmaine Ward Milner, and I'm Director of Corporate Relations. I lead a team across the state, and we focus on our diverse customer communities. You know, I love helping people, and I love making impact in the community. I would love to chat with you more about how maybe we can collaborate or how what we do might align. Can we grab coffee? I
course we
just
can.
made that up. I have no idea what I was saying right then. I didn't even know what I was going to say. Your elevator pitch, you can memorize it, but what I really want you to do is internalize it. That's what I want you to do. Internalize it. Mine isn't memorized. I know my name, right? I know what I do, and I can explain what I do. We focus on diverse customer communities. Nobody cares. What in the world is a corporate relations director? Nobody knows what that is. I mean, it's okay to say it, but don't leave it there. And don't assume people know what you do. Even in your space, every one of you could be called a development person. Yes, we know you raise money, but how? What? Every organization has a different philosophy around development. So you need to explain what you do. And I don't need 10 things. I need one phrase or two. Again, remember your elevator pitch is 30 to 60 seconds. So just think less than a minute. What you want is it's almost like dating. I know I'm going back to personal again. You want them to want more. You want them to ask you questions. You want them to ask you out. That's what you want. Yes, ask me out because I want to have coffee with you. And this is the other thing. Don't ask for lunch. Sorry, y'all. I love all y'all. I don't want to have lunch with you. Don't want to have lunch. Don't have time. Trying to watch my waistline. Ask for coffee meeting. A coffee meeting is 30 minutes, right? And you can, whatever you need to say, you need to be able to say it in 30 minutes. Okay, so the other thing around networking is asking powerful questions. Think about who, what, where, why, and how. Ask powerful questions. So, I was just reading about your organization. So what does acquiring the new nonprofit mean for you guys? Or I was looking at your website. So I was just trying to understand, why are you only focused on children from 8 to 14? I mean, what happens after that? Think of thoughtful questions, right? But make sure, did y'all hear that I said I read your annual report? I was looking at something. I'm not asking questions like, so why do y'all do that? No. First of all, it's in your tone. Second, I led with the fact that I've done my reading. I've done my research. So I'm letting you know I was so interested that I looked at something. Or, I was just talking to your development person who's one of my colleagues, and they were sharing that you have a new philosophy around how you're going to do your annual campaign. Would you mind sharing with me? Okay, those are the kinds of powerful questions you want to ask. Who, what, where, why, how, right? Again, this is the key is this slide. Tell what you do, not what you are. Interesting, authentic, make that connection, be present, and don't sell yourself. Tell about yourself. Don't sell yourself. So I just kind of did this, right? What's your name? Again, what do you do? What's your expertise? I am a development director, and my expertise is raising money through individual donors because I am passionate about just connecting and building relationships with people. And I find that's a space I excel in. Wait for them to say something. Guess what? It's okay to pause. It's great to pause, right? A lot of times I find that, and I know I speak fast, slow down. You want to slow down so that people can really get what you're saying. So keep in mind this when you're doing your elevator pitch. right? You know, this only 60 seconds. Remember, 55% comes from your body language. So even though I'm on Zoom, have you all noticed I've moved in, I've moved out, I've used my hands. It's okay. You don't have to do like this. Lean in. No, what you have to make sure is that you're at the right place here, because you don't want your whole face right up in the camera. But I'm far back so that when I do lean in and I'm aware of my face, right? I'm aware. So the other thing is my tone of voice. I've raised my voice, I've dropped my voice. Another thing to think about is whoever you're talking to. This is hard for me. I have to admit, I have to practice this. They say you should match your tone. So if somebody speaks faster, you should speak a little bit faster, because if you don't, not a lot, but just speak a little faster if that's not your normal, because then they're going to get bored, because they're like, okay, if somebody speaks slower, then you should speak slower. If they sit back, you may sit back a little bit. If they're up, you want to match the person that you're speaking with. Now, that's a lot harder virtually, but just again, it's about awareness. What are they doing? Are they sitting up? Are they speaking really fast? You know, see if you can match it. Remember, 7% of our message is conveyed by the words we use. So choose your words wisely. And you know, right now, they're hypersensitive, hypersensitive. So you want to be careful of the choice of words that you use. And it's not something that would be somebody would be offended by, even though you didn't mean it. You know that somebody would be offended. So choose your words carefully. So make sure you do that. And you want to practice. You know, there is an art to building relationships. It is not. I mean, some people it's innate. And for others, you have to practice, but it is something that can be learned. I mean, my husband will say, you know, you would talk to us, I swear, that the ants on the wall if it was up to you. And he's right. I mean, I know the people in the grocery store, CVS. If you would go with me one day, you'd be like, how in the world do these people know you? Because I talk to them. Yes. Even though they're ringing up my stuff, I'm talking to them. I walk in CVS. They're like, hey, you haven't been here in a day or two. I'm like, I know. And my husband's just like, help me, right? But I mean, I'm an uber extrovert. So even if you're not uber extrovert, find a reason to say something to somebody. You have to practice, right? My husband's actually an introvert, but he's learned to be an extrovert because his jobs have required him to be an extrovert in order to be successful. So there is an art to it, but you can practice it and you can get better at it. Okay. That's why we want you not to get ready, but we want you to stay ready. And so if you practice some of the things that we've been working on, and you're going to have a great opportunity to practice today, but you have to be ready, right? So have that elevator pitch written. Think about your personal mission statement. Think about what your values are, and think about your self-awareness as you're talking to people and building relationships. I know I am 9:14, and they said 9:10. So I know we didn't have time to practice. I'm sorry, you all, but we're going to practice now, right? We're going to practice now. I was determined to be on time. Please reach out to me. I am happy to look at your personal mission statements. I am happy to be a virtual mentor. The days of meeting somebody every Tuesday at 2:00, that's your mentor, that is over. You should have, someone mentioned, 3 or 4 mentors. I'm a virtual mentor. If you need me, text me. You got 5 minutes to talk? Yes. Here's the situation. And then what is it you want to talk about? What is the question? What's the challenge? What's the issue? That's how you use mentors, right? And yes, you do have to get to know them. I'm not saying don't get to know them, but it's a lot of different ways that you can do that over time and through experiences, right? So make sure that you do have multiple mentors and that you're using them and leaning on them when you need to. So with that, I'm going to go back to to my elevator pitch template, because this is what you guys are going to be practicing as you do speed networking. Again, 60 seconds. So whoever is in my room, I'm going to be timing you. And then when I ask you another follow-up question, I expect you to be able to answer it or have a question for me. That's what networking is, just a casual conversation, but with a purpose. Think of it like that. For people that are like, oh, I can't do it, I get so nervous. What would you do if you were talking to a friend? It's no different. Just talk to me, but it has a purpose. And that purpose is maybe you're trying to get money, maybe you want a coffee meeting, maybe you want a job. That's the difference. Okay. I hope that I shared just a few takeaways with you that you'll be able to use. I apologize, we did not have time to do a little bit more interaction, but I wanted you to have the information. It's so much more important, and you can practice during the next session. Thank you. And I want to turn it back over to Arisha.
Thank you so much, Charmaine. I was supposed to be like telling you what's going on in the chat, but I'm trying to like listen and soak this all in myself. So there was great things going on in the chat. Everyone just completely agreeing with everything that you said. That was amazing. Like Chelsea said, more than just a few tidbits. You gave us a lot of information there. So thank you so much for your time. And yeah, like she said, I hope everyone's able to try to utilize some of it when you're going into these networking rooms coming up. There won't be Mary J. Blige in any of the rooms. I'm sorry, I didn't want Charmaine to give you guys, high expectations, but so maybe that should help you guys, maybe not freeze up so much. But yeah, so we're going into our networking speed rounds or speed networking rooms in a little bit. And basically what's going to happen is you're going to be put in a room with a hiring manager, seasoned professional. Here's our list on the screen here of our amazing fundraising experts and hiring managers that signed up to be with us today. Thank you all so much, first of all, for being here with us. And it will be either a 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 room that you will be in. And you'll have the opportunity, like she said, a few minutes to just chat. Use the time to practice your personal mission statement. Use the time to tell them who you are, not what you are, or what you do. Trying to practice already. And just, enjoy the opportunity to get to meet some people that are in our sector and in the Atlanta area. And hopefully when we come out of this, there'll be some relationships built. Like Charmaine said, ask for that 5 minutes, ask for that coffee, like really utilize this time because it's so important to have it. I mean, all these people are extremely busy and they've taken the time out to be with us today. So make sure you have meaningful discussions here. So Jenna will break us out into these networking rooms. You guys don't have to do anything. And there will be timers so you will see when you're about to be moved out. Jenna, thank you.
Is everyone back? How are the sessions? Good?
Quick.
Awesome.
Very quick, but so fun.
I'm so glad. Thank you so much for being a part of this event today. I just wanted to do a quick plug for AFP's next event, which is on May 18th. It's our May chapter meeting. We have our very own young professional, Andre Dowell, who's going to be talking about intentional engagement and stewardship with your donors. So if you liked what you saw today, it was one of your first AFP opportunities, definitely recommend signing up for this event. The chapter meetings happen every month and they're really, really great opportunities to learn from leading industry professionals. So definitely mark your calendars for that. You can register online at, I think this is the link, yeah. Maybe I'll put it in the chat real quick just to be safe. But yeah, hope to see you there. Thanks so much, y'all.
Awesome. And just to reiterate what Amanda shared earlier, we've got, of course, membership. We also have board applications open and our big virtual annual event on June 24th, the Next Gen Breakfast / early evening happy hour. So please check out YMPN.org or YMPNatlanta.org and feel free to reach out to myself or Tanya or Amanda Bonilla if you're interested in learning more about the Young Nonprofit Professionals Network. And one more shout out to our sponsors and huge thanks to AFP, Jenna, Abby, and Arshay for making this event possible. We hope you'll connect with all of these organizations on social media. And I think that's a wrap. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, Charmaine.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Hi, everyone.